So the Kansas City Chiefs keep dominating, and other fan bases in the NFL, they're just honestly tired of it. Now, we know what the Kansas City Chiefs have done in the Patrick Mahomes era. I mean, they've been to an AFC championship literally every year that Patrick Mahomes started. So they've been in the AFC championship 6 years in a row. And now we sit at 15-1, and we have clinched the 1 seed. And now it looks like we're going to have another easy path to the AFC championship once again. So it's a real scenario that the Kansas City Chiefs can end up facing a divisional rival in the second round, or maybe the Steelers or the Texans. The Kansas City Chiefs, they will beat any team that they face in the divisional round, because we're not going to be facing the Ravens. We're not going to be facing the Bills. So that leads us back to the AFC championship. People at first, they were rooting for the Kansas City Chiefs to be that, that young team that comes in and starts, to take the throne away from Tom Brady. But now that there's no more Brady in the NFL, and now that the Chiefs have took the throne, people are starting to hate the Kansas City Chiefs now, and they're even trying to find ways for the Kansas City Chiefs to lose in the playoffs, and that's what their hopes is going to. But the Kansas City Chiefs, they are way too much of a talented team for them to even lose in the playoffs. When you have Patrick Mahomes at quarterback, I mean, a guy who is obviously one of the greatest quarterbacks of all time, there's no debating that. In my opinion, he's second behind Tom Brady. So when you have a guy like him at QB, it's very hard to beat a team like that. Especially now that we have guys like Hopkins, he's looked like a beast when he's played, and we was trying to keep his snap count down due to like something with our pick I was reading up or something like that. But now that he's going to be in the playoffs, he gets to play 100% of his snaps. So we're going to see DeAndre Hopkins really, really go crazy. Trust me, we're going to see DeAndre Hopkins really go crazy. And you got Hollywood Brown, who's came back, and he's looked sharp in his return. Hollywood Brown has looked like an absolute stud for the Kansas City Chiefs in his return. He's looked very, very sharp. I've loved what I've seen out of Hollywood Brown, most definitely. So the Kansas City Chiefs, everything is coming together for them at the right time. Now, Rashee Rice is obviously not going to come back. Now, if he somehow came back, that would have been absolutely crazy. But Rashee Rice is not coming back, sadly. But Worthy, who's been looking good in the second half of the season, DeAndre Hopkins and Hollywood Brown, Travis Kelce, who's obviously Travis Kelce, that's more than enough for the Kansas City Chiefs to win the Super Bowl. Trust me. And I didn't even get into the rest of the players that we have. I didn't get into the offensive line with Thuney, Humphrey, and Trey Smith carrying them, carrying the offensive line. I didn't get into the defense, obviously, where we've been looking very, very good. We've been shutting down the opponents we've been facing. But one move that actually changed everything for the Kansas City Chiefs was putting Joe Thuney at left tackle. That was something that changed everything for the Kansas City Chiefs. Joe Thuney did pretty well. He's did pretty well playing left tackle recently, and I like how we've been using the quick game more, and we've been making quick passes. So that's something very good that the Kansas City Chiefs did. I'm very happy that they ended up doing that. I mean, this Chiefs team is just honestly unreal, and I just love what I see out of them day in and day out. Well, obviously not day in and day out, but every Sunday, I know what I mean. And for them to be in a prime position to go back to the Super Bowl and win it all again, which seems inevitable at this point, it's a great time to be a Chiefs fan. And I've mentioned guys like Hollywood Brown, Xavier Worthy, and DeAndre Hopkins, but there's also guys like Justin Watson, who's a veteran player in the Chiefs offense. He's been available for big plays when it was needed. I mean, if y'all remember that game against Pittsburgh, Watson had a 49-yard catch down the sideline that set up the Chiefs in scoring position. And then Mahomes found him open again in the back of the end zone for the 11-yard touchdown, which put us up 13-0 against the Pittsburgh Steelers on Christmas Day. Watson had a pretty solid day as well, 2 catches for 60 yards. So that's another thing with this Kansas City Chiefs team. Like, honestly, they could attack you from different ways. And we have the running game with Pacheco and Hunt. So this Chiefs team could attack you from multiple different ways and a bunch of different angles. Pacheco's looked a little weak ever since coming off this injury. But I could see him definitely breaking out for some big runs in the playoffs. So I wouldn't really worry about him yet. But yeah, man. I mean, Watson, he's been doing this, and the Chiefs, man, they're gonna get better and better. And they've been playing their best football at the end of the year. Like I said, that's scary. Now, a lot of people could overlook this and they could ignore this. They can ignore what I'm saying. But the Chiefs, they're going to continue to work to get even better as they go into the playoffs. Trust me, man. Like, this Chiefs team, man, I just never seen a group of guys that's always so locked in. They don't get comfortable with winning. I really believe that when the Kansas City Chiefs lost to the Cincinnati Bengals in the AFC Championship that year, that changed everything for them. Like, I feel like after that happened, they literally just locked in and they never played around their food after that in the playoffs. Literally never played around their food at all in the playoffs after that, which is smart because the Cincinnati Bengals, I mean, that was a humbling experience, you know. It really was a humbling experience, man. But honestly, Chiefs, they control their own destiny. They control their own destiny. Patrick Mahomes, he's been looking like he's back. He's taking his game to another level. I mean, 320 yards and 3 touchdowns, 29-10 blowout. I love how the Kansas City Chiefs offense is emerging down the stretch, and Patrick Mahomes is playing very well at the end of the season. That's amazing. And another thing is Travis Kelce is still very dangerous. I don't think a lot of people realize that. Travis Kelce is still very dangerous. The Chiefs, they relied heavily on Travis Kelce during that run towards winning back-to-back Super Bowls last year, obviously. So Travis Kelce looking like he's back again, ramping things up again down the stretch for Kansas City. And he's going to play a significant role in our postseason success, and that's obvious, you know. Like, if you look at a guy like Travis Kelce, he's been the definition of consistency, literally. On Christmas Day, he played well, 8 catches for 84 yards and a touchdown. So clearly, Travis Kelce is still all right. Andy Reid, we know that he's very difficult to beat. I mean, if you look at his resume throughout his career as a head coach, he's looked like obviously in Philadelphia, you know, he was known as a choker kind of for some reason. But in Kansas City, he's been remarkable, man. And honestly, the AFC playoff bracket is going to go through Arrowhead again. And the Chiefs, they're going to find different ways to win every week like they always do throughout the playoffs. And much of that credit, you have to give it to Andy Reid, how he manages the team and his elite game planning skills. And that's why the Chiefs are going to be a very tough out in these playoffs. Xavier Worthy, he's becoming an absolute problem. He's becoming a deadly weapon. Xavier Worthy, he's been literally going crazy for the Chiefs down the stretch. He's a rookie. He struggled early on with route running, obviously, which is still a concern. But over the last 4 weeks, he's been very impressive, you know. His impressive was on full display against the Steelers. Worthy, he had 8 passes for 87 yards and a touchdown. And for Worthy doing this is honestly bad news for the NFL, man. It's bad news for the NFL. Then we're going to have Steve Spagnuolo in the playoffs and his playoff defense. Man, this Chiefs team is ready, and they're locked and loaded. And if you look at all the other teams that had a chance to three-peat, they never looked as dangerous as this. Chiefs is coming, and people should be worried.